Hi, I'm Trisha at Club Scrap, and it's time to put those elegant black tie scrapbook pages together. During this workshop, we'll be sorting the paper, then trimming every single sheet needed to be trimmed in order to create 8 12 by 12 pages, and then we're going to dry fit all of those pieces onto the appropriate pages so that you can have smooth sailing to finished layouts with virtually no scraps. Let's get started. I've taken the black tie page kit out of the package, but if you would like, you can leave all of the embellishments in the bag for safekeeping. I've got my photo mats I'm going to pull out. I also need the 8.5 by 11 sheet of velvet, and I'll just slide off all the other things. And again, if you keep that in the bag, that's probably the safest place. And I've got my guillotine style trimmer here that I absolutely love. You can see how much I love it by the fact that the numbers are wearing off in the middle of the trimmer. And then I also have my infamous Accordion Pocket File. I'll have a link to a kit where you can follow along and make one of these for yourself. The advantage of this is that when we sort the papers for all 8 pages, they're going to fit into one of these 4 pockets, each one dedicated to a spread. Okay, and then the trimmer itself holds up that file, and I secure it there with 2 hook and loop dots, and that way we're using our plentiful vertical space because we have minimal horizontal space. And I don't care how large your crafting space is, there never seems to be enough, right? That's why I love this little organizer. So check that out if you don't already have one. But if you don't have one, don't put on the brakes here. Just keep 4 separate piles, one for each double page spread. Then I have a copy of the instructions. So as a warm-up, let's go ahead and take the photo mats that we saved here and let's get them filed into the appropriate pocket. So there are 3 gold photo mats. Let's take all 3 and place them in pocket 1 and 2. And I like to do so horizontally so that I'm not putting undue pressure by putting a lot of vertical pieces into the pockets. Then take 3 of the ivory. Now to compare, in your kit you have 3 of this creamy speckle. It's a little bit deeper, and then 3 of this brighter ivory. So I want the ivory. Let's put all 3 of these into pocket 3 and 4. Then take the 3 cream speckle photo mats and place them in pocket 5 and 6, along with 2 of the black photo mats. Lastly, the remaining black photo mat that goes in pocket 7 and 8. I'm taking my instructions. If you happen to have a printed copy, I like to keep them right to my right, and then the papers will end up on my left. But first, let's organize them into the order we'll be trimming or using them. So I'm going to start out by taking the sheet of the black velvet, and I'm just going to put it face down on my trimmer base because we're going to start there. Then we'll move on to 1 sheet of the chevron print. That's this guy. You can see it's got that chevron shape to it. I don't know. We didn't know what else to call it. So there you go, the chevron print. I'm going to put that face down in front of me and then grab the diamond print. That one has a lot more gold on it, let's just say. So flip that over to the plain side as well. The rest of the papers I'm holding up vertically because it tends to be the easiest way to see them. I always equate it to like when you go to a vinyl record shop, the records aren't stacked like this on a pile. They're upright so you can sift through them. Next up, I want you to find 1 sheet of the plain black. It's just a really, really nice quality, American-made deep black color. I love it. And then, of course, the Coverweight metallic gold. Oh, it's so scrumptious. Very, very special paper right there. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Then from the back of your stack, and you might find these facing away from you, but let's take the sheet of Cutaparts that has green and a lot of stripes on it. It says memories right here. Let's take that, put it face down, and then the remaining Cutapart that says ain't life grand. Put that face down. Next, 2 sheets of the ivory. Now we already talked about that the ivory is that brighter piece that does not have any speckles. Those will go next. Then 1 chevron print, put that face down. The other black plain, put that next. A gold. I love that paper. Then the remaining diamond print, face down. And lastly, the 2 cream speckle. We'll flip everything back over to the black velvet. Stack it neatly to your left is how I generally tend to place it. And then I'm back at page 1 of my instructions. So let's take that sheet of the black velvet. We're going to make sure it's vertically in the trimmer or portrait style. And our first cut's going to be at 6 1/4. So 6 go to the left 1 column on the trimmer, and making sure you're looking at the inches and not the centimeters up here. So 6 plus 1 column to the left, 6 1/4. Make sure the paper is level at the top there, or velvet. Push down on that clear bar and make your slice. Then move down to 3 1/4. So 3 plus 1 column to the left is 3 1/4. Then rotate this piece that's in the trimmer right now so it's horizontal. Cut at 10 1/2, 7, and 3 1/2. So you've got 3 rectangles here, and we're going to place them all in pocket 3 and 4. And then there is a small piece that fell. That is actually a scrap, one of 2 total scraps. Let's set this one aside. Then take the next strip. This is 3 inches wide. We're going to rotate it and trim horizontally at 8 1/4, 5 1/2, and 2 3/4. Gathering up the pieces that fell to the right, and you should have a series of 4 rectangles the same size for pocket 7 and 8. You have one last strip. We'll cut this one at 10 3/4, 7 1/2, 7 1/2, and 4 1/4. Even though these pieces are not all the same size, the larger ones anyway, they all go in pocket 3 and 4, and there's a small scrap. That again is the final scrap of the entire session. Pick up the chevron print, and I'm just going to rotate it so the strips are running sideways on my trimmer. When the direction of the print does matter, I usually include the print itself in the diagram so you can see exactly how it was placed in the trimmer, and that should match. We'll cut this one at 9, again stabilizing each time, and let the paper lay where it lands. Then 6 and 3 1/4. I'm going to take the piece that's in my trimmer right now and place it in pocket 5 and 6. Then the next 3 pieces all go in pocket 1 and 2. And just as a mention, I'm going to place them in the pocket at an angle so that the paper kind of angles out past the edge of the pocket to the right, and then I can still see all the numbers on the left. The diamond print, I'm going to place it in the trimmer in what I feel is right side up. And then again, that is mirrored in the instruction image as well. So I'm going to start at 9 1/4. So it's 9 plus 1 column to the left. Stabilize again. And then 4. Now rotate the 4-inch piece so it's horizontal and trim at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, and 3 3/4. You made a series of 3 rectangles that are the same for pockets 7 and 8. And then there's this little piece that fell that is used, so put it in 3 and 4. This larger piece is used as is in layout 3 and 4, put it in at an angle, and then the final strip I used it in 7 and 8. Again, you could be using piles instead of pockets. If at any time I'm moving too fast for you, you can adjust your playback speed in YouTube. You can even double it if I'm moving too slow for you. Let me know if you do that. I would really love to hear that. Let's take the black plane and put it in there at 10 3/4. And then slide all the way to 6. Rotate that 6-inch piece so it's horizontal and cut at 8 and 4. Grab all of the rectangles you just made. They should be the same size, pocket 3 and 4. And then pick up the next strip. We'll trim it at 8 and 4 1/4. The 4 1/4-inch piece in your trimmer right now, place it in 3 and 4. The next rectangle, pocket 1 and 2. The next rectangle, I want you to trim it horizontally. So when you put it in your trimmer, you'll see it measures 4 3/4 right now. I want you to cut it at 2 1/2. That made uneven rectangles. Both of them go in pockets 7 and 8. And then I'm going to pick up the final strip that goes in 1 and 2. From here you can see there are no scraps. And why would we want to waste this beautiful paper? Now we have this cover weight gold. We're going to trim it at 11 3/4. Bunch of thin strips here, 11 1/2. Just bear with me. We got to spread the love on this paper. 11 1/4, a bunch. 11, keep going. 10 3/4. 10 1/2. I know, it's kind of crazy. 10 1/4, almost there. 10. Jump down to 7 3/4. And 4. Wow, that was a lot. Rotate this piece so it's horizontal and cut at 6. And you have 2 photo mats, pockets 7 and 8. Then this strip we're going to do quite a bit of trimming. Remember to let the pieces pile up. I'll help you file them in order. Our first trim here will be at 11, 9 1/4, 6 1/2, 3 3/4. All right, so we have this square. Pick up the next piece, it's shorter. The next one is the same as the previous, and then you have another piece that's pretty small. All of them go in pocket 1 and 2. And then you have this little 1-inch guy. He goes in 3 and 4. This larger strip, 5 and 6. And then you have all these little paper ribbons, I call them. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them go in pocket 7 and 8. And the other 4 go in pocket 5 and 6. Okay. These are the cut-aparts, which implies we have to cut them apart. But before we do that, we have to turn them into a 12 by 12 because right now they're a little larger than a 12 by 12. To do that, we're going to trim away everything that is indicated by these little guidelines on the corner. And right now the paper is just a little too long for me to see the outside edge of the blade on my trimmer. So I'm going to bring this into the trimmer and place it just shy of that guideline. I'm going to come back later on and clean that up. Then I'll rotate, and now I can see the edge of the blade down here in the lower right corner. So I'll line that up top and bottom, and then I'm going to rotate the paper again, line it up with the blade at the mark. The goal is kind of to have the mark gone. Here I can look at my 12, and then when I rotate again, I should be able to look at my 12 on the left on the measurement here, and then it should just get me cleaning up that little edge, and it does. So I'm going to remove these little sniglets. I guess those are technically scraps, but I don't think they count. And then make sure the word memories is right side up and on the left before we start stripping this out. So let's start at 11, and then we're going to go to 10. And 9 1/2. And visually you should see it splitting right down the middle between the artwork strips. Then 9. And then 7. And 3 1/2. Memories, that goes in pocket 7 and 8. The next strip needs to be separated, so we'll make sure that it reads right side up. Elegance will be on your left, and we'll trim at 10 1/2, 8 1/2, 6, and 3 1/2. Elegance, that goes in pocket 1 and 2. The next journaling prompt here, it's a vertical prompt, that goes in 1 and 2. And this little green frame, 1 and 2. Live in the moment and make it beautiful, 7 and 8. And this last one, my favorite colors are black, dark black, pitch black, pastel black, light black, and faded black, 1 and 2. This wide strip, 7 and 8. Then you have 2 really narrow strips. One of them goes in pocket 5 and 6, and the other 1 and 2. The last 2 strips, pocket 1 and 2 as well. We get to do all of that one more time with our final sheet of Cutaparts. Get your reading glasses out if you need them to see those little guide marks. They are reversed now, but they're very faint. I'm going to line those up and just keep working my way around here. As I said, those are faint, but you can just see them. Maybe if you need, you grab your flashlight on your phone and shine away so that you can get those marks lined up. Okay, we'll set this aside, and Ain't Life Grand should be on our right here, and our first cut at 10.5 takes us right in between the strips. Then 9, 7, and 4. Rotate the 4-inch piece so that it's a grand affair is on the right. We'll start at 10 and then go down to 6. This frame here, 5 and 6. And this other one, also 5 and 6. You have a tag, and I just want to point out 4 tags like this. If you want, you can just take the trimmer and clip off those corners. That's an optional thing. Another way you can do it is with scissors, or you could get out your craft knife, cutting mat, and ruler and make sure you have an 1/8 inch margin there beyond the edge of the artwork. You know, when I'm doing it for my samples, I tend to use the ruler and craft knife because it's the most accurate, but I don't know that anyone would ever notice. Then I'm going to take this next strip, make sure, trust me, you can dance, is on the left. We'll cut at 10, 8, 6, and 3. So trust me, you can dance, and memories are my favorite souvenir, both of them, 5 and 6. You have a vertical journaling tag, 3 and 4, a horizontal journaling tag, 5 and 6, and then this last tag, 3 and 4. This larger strip, pocket 5 and 6, and our last 2 strips here that match, 3 and 4. That concludes the entire trimming process for all 8 layouts. And remember, we only had those 2 tiny little scraps of velvet. Pretty amazing, right? Let's lock the blade on our trimmer, and then when you separate it from the accordion pocket file, just make sure you keep track of this, lay it on its back from now on. If you're working on a really narrow table, you have to be careful, because if you take the trimmer away, that can fall backwards and onto the floor. We don't want that happening. We'll set this all aside. I'll take the remaining pieces of 12 by 12 paper that we haven't trimmed. These are going to become the bases of our pages. So with the whole stack, don't just take the top piece, but take the entire stack and slide the top piece over to your right. And like this would be the center of your workspace. This is going to be the gutter between your 7th and 8th page. So yes, we're going to start with pages 7 and 8. So that means going back, if you have your instructions, you either scroll down to the end or find the bottom of page 4. It says layouts 7 and 8. The bases of these 2 pages are ivory. That's what we have in front of us. That's what I queued up earlier. And then we're going to empty pocket 7 and 8 and recreate what we see in this layout right here. From my accordion pocket file, I'll empty this lovely pocket. Make sure you have everything. Make sure it's all empty. And we'll begin. So usually I like to start out with like our larger strips. This one with the diamond print here, that's going to go right along the left edge. And we're going to follow that with one of these gold strips to create some separation there. Isn't that nice? Then you have the narrower strip here, followed by yet another gold strip, kind of defining the space. Then I'll just have you place this right here, but for now I want you to add the black photo mat here, and then 2 gold kind of tilted and angled. So let's make sure we have enough room. Lovely. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 series of the print that can become photo mats, if you like. Immediately next to that, with maybe an 1/8 inch margin, I'll add a strip. Then this goes right up next to it, and another strip on the right. Then we're gonna do a series of 1, 2, 3, 4 black velvet mats. Oh, it's so elegant. Then I'll take this Live in the Moment, nest it onto that. It's gonna go in this corner here. And then the other one right below it, the wider one. That can be for a photo. You'll see that there's a little tassel that's gonna go with this title. There's room for it, as well as room for some ribbon to be wrapped around. But I'm just gonna go over that finishing touch by showing you the final layout. Here we have page 8. You can see that this is all placed nice and level and even. To achieve that perfect even spacing between each piece, I tend to use a grid ruler just to ensure that everything's centered and level and evenly spaced. And I do the same thing for those black velvet pieces on the right edge, and then this is in the remaining center space. For adding these gold strips, I find the best thing to use is a needle tip applicator filled with our bookbinding glue. I'll put a link to both of these items in the description below, but after I attach the memories strip, then I grab my little glue bottle and I run the nozzle along the edge of the cut apart and then bring the strip to the wet glue. Rather than trying to work with dry glue or to put the adhesive on the strip and bring the strip to the page, this just works much better. And as long as you have your glue out, just go ahead and put 2 little dots on the paper and then bring the gem to the dot and it will dry very nicely. I did use a tweezers to handle the gems. It just kind of keeps my hands out of it, my big clumpy fingertips, and it allowed me to place that gem right where I wanted it. On the facing page, you can see everything came together as we laid it out very simply. For this embellishment, I took the ribbon and simply tied a knot into it. Just, kind of like you're tying your shoes, right? Just make a little knot. And I make it, kind of as flat as possible, kind of shape it a little bit. All of our ribbon typically is a double-faced satin, so it doesn't really matter so much which side is visible. And then you can wrap the ends around to the back. After that, I just took the bookbinding glue again and put a little dab on it. Let me move this. Put a little dab on this flat part in the back with the glue and then just stuck it down so that the hanging loop was behind the knot in the ribbon. And I think that just looks so sweet. So that is how page 7 and 8 will come together. Next, I'm going to have you take this piece of ivory, just one sheet of that 12 by 12 base, slide it over to the right, and then take the chevron print, slide that to the right. I'm going to get rid of this ribbon here so it doesn't bulk me up here. Okay, now I have the base for layouts 5 and 6. That means I need to empty pocket 5 and 6 as well. And in my instructions, I'll look at the top here, 5 and 6 as well. And I like to distribute the pieces from my hand if possible. It just makes it a little easier than picking them up off the table one at a time. This larger chevron print is going to be kind of like a title strip, and then we'll use one of the gold metallic strips to separate. Oh, I just think that does so much for it. Don't you agree? I love it. I love, love, love it. Okay, let's see. To the left then, I'm also going to add this wide gold strip and nest it with this. I decided not to make you cut it down to 1/2-inch pieces. We just used it. Then there's also this dotted strip here, and then we flank it with gold above and below, just to kind of differentiate that as well. It's like wainscoting in a dining room. Then you have the 2 cream speckle mats, and that's what's going to determine kind of all of this positioning. You want to have it so that the vertical and horizontal borders here create a little frame around your 2 vertical mats. Then on the right side, we're going to use black below and above the strip. And using the black here mirrors the base of the facing page. I like to kind of do that. Now here, I added the cream speckle photo mat and nested it with this guy, and then added the sentiment right there. And then take your horizontal journaling prompt and put that below. On the left side, I'll finish up with this little mat, and I slightly overlapped it with the sentiment here. On the finished pages, I'm going to give you a few more tips. I did add a slot to the tag after I trimmed off the corners, which you can barely see. And I threaded it with this ribbon and wrapped it around to the back, secured it with tape. Then I didn't tie a knot into the ribbon at all. All I did was I took some of the gold cord and just wrapped it around the ribbon so that I could scrunch it up. So it doesn't create a knot there at all. The knot is really in the cord, not in the ribbon. I hope that made sense. And I just think that's such a lovely finishing touch there on the tag. Then around the frame here, I've got my 4 emerald gems. Once again, I brought the nozzle of my glue bottle to that little squared corner and just put a little circle of glue. And then I brought the gem to the glue. And that seemed to work really well. I mean, obviously the gems have gone nowhere. On the facing page, oh, here is a cool finishing touch. I wrapped some cord around the base of the feather and then attached it with my ATG adhesive. I will also put a link to the ATG gun that I like to use. It's my favorite dry adhesive. It goes a long way. And then once again, 4 gems, 1 in each corner of the sentiment there at the top. Okay, taking the black base of this page, I'll slide it over and slide again the gold. Here we are at layout 3 and 4. So I'm going to reverse in my instructions to the bottom of page 3, and I'll empty the pocket of pocket 3 and 4 and switch to my wide view here so you can see what I'm doing. And wow, there's a lot of stuff in there. Okay, let us take this largest piece here. It goes, I'd say maybe 2 inches from the right edge. We'll see. I think to find that, we're going to take that ivory mat. Let's just place that right here. And then it's going to frame in nicely. On top of that ivory, we're going to add, it should nest with the black. And then ivory down here, horizontal, and stacked, nested with the other 2 black 4x6s. And your photo will be 3 3/4 by 5 3/4 to fit. And if you're new around here and you have the instructions, they do tell you what size the photo needs to be trimmed to, so there's no guesswork. If you've ever guessed what size your photo needs to be and then you trim it too small on one side and then you trim on the other side, and yeah, we'd like to avoid that. Ain't Life Grand over here, and then this strip goes here, but I see that it goes behind my mat. Across the bottom, we're adding 3, I think they're horizontal, 3 horizontal black velvets. And we also have just a rectangular mat here. The Ain't Life Grand nests with this tag. And this green tag gets some velvet. This other journaling prompt gets some velvet. They're both going to go on this side. Then you got these guys. So here I basically just trimmed a V into the short edge, one short edge of both of these pieces, and I tucked it behind the mat. Very cool. Let us take a look. On the right side, I used my slot punch. Here's that slot punch. So it just pops, it just pops a slot into the top of the tag. And you always do this after it's been nested, if you plan to nest the tag, because when you slide it in, it only goes in like 1/2 inch from the edge. So if you punch and then nest, the holes will not line up and you'll have to use some sort of a craft knife to cut a second hole for your ribbon. Ask me how I know this. Anyway, after punching the slot, I just looped in some of that beautiful metallic edged satin ribbon in there and taped it on the back. And then here you have the 3 little gems, and then the V cut into the edge of this makes it look like a little flag or a little banner. Really sweet finishing touch there, and a rescue for the scraps that would have been. On the facing page, I took the gold cord and I just ran it above and below the title. That's completely optional. And I have the emerald green gems, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them added, 3 on the left and 4 on the right side of the title using that same glue. And I do this last. Like I finish all the pages and then I lay them out and I just start adding my emerald or my gems, and I just let it dry. Then here I punched a slot again and slid the ribbon right through. A nice finishing touch there. That looks so nice with that deep velvet in the background. I'll take that diamond print now and slide it over to the right. And then the cream speckle is what we've got left here. And I'll empty everything from pocket A. Very good. Let me see what's happening here. We have these 3 chevron prints. One is narrower than the other. I'm going to have you take that narrow one and place it down at the bottom of the page. And then we'll take this one, we'll put it on the top side, and the remaining one will be on the right. I think the main thing is that the narrowest one went down at the bottom, and then from there you just decide how you want it to look. Then just above that I'm going to give it a little border strip, and below this one I'm going to add the first half of the title, Life is Too Short. And in the middle we'll add our photo mat. On this side, vertically, I'll add the other 2 gold mats, and then the black strip, followed by the other half of the title, and the smaller black mat. Then you have a large gold square that will nest with your title up here. You'll have a medium-sized gold that will fit with this, and the other medium-sized gold will go here, and the skinniest will mat our funny little sentiment here on the left. Let's explore our finishing touches. On the right side of layout 2, I perform the same feather trick. So I have all this nice space. If you would rather put photos there, then you can omit the feather, of course. You can omit anything you want, and these are your pages, right? And I just, once again, wrapped the stem with the gold cord and then used dry adhesive to add this to the layout. Onto the tag, I did clip the corner of not only the journaling prompt, but also the gold mat. And then I once again did the trick I showed you earlier with that gold edged ribbon. After I wrapped that around, I strung and hung the gold tassel with another piece of the gold cord. That turned out really, really cute. On the facing page, I threaded this onto the tassel and then wrapped the ends around to the back. I think it will end up gluing this down because it keeps kind of popping up, but that's just kind of a sweet way to use that final gold tassel. And then here I finished off with one little emerald gem. I don't think I used all the gems. I'm not sure how many you got in your scoop. We have to scoop those out because counting them would be just insane. So I'm sure you'll have enough of the gems to do exactly what I did with my pages. And if you have extras, you could add them anywhere you want. All right, the next step is for you to do one of 2 things. You can take the layout number 1 and slide it on top of layout number 2, and that'll give you a stack 1 through 8. Slide all of that back into the bag that your kit came in. Put your ribbon in there, copy of your instructions if you like, or at least the packing list so that you know what's there. And then the next time you want to get together with your girlfriends or go to a crop, instead of packing like everything you own into 4 trips to and from the car, you can just like have a box of layouts that are prepped this far, and then grab a stack of your pictures and a bunch of adhesive, maybe just a few basic supplies, and hang out with your friends and finish your layouts in the most productively amazing way possible. Or maybe right now you have time and you can grab your adhesive and stick everything down. I do encourage you to do it in this order. I know some of you who've been using this method for a long time, you just kind of wait until you have your pictures, and then you, like if it's a horizontal photos, you kind of make adjustments and fine tune, and that's totally cool. But I do find it works really well if you just stick all this down as shown, bring your pictures to the finished pages and retrofit them as needed. Like sometimes I'll put 2 vertical photos that have been cropped onto a horizontal mat. Works great. There's a lot of different solutions for working with the layouts as they're completed. The final outcome, however, is major time saving efficiency, okay? So if you've never tried it this way before, where you actually finish the pages before you even know what you're putting on them, you will be absolutely amazed at how well it works. In fact, I watched my girlfriend, she's the first time ever scrapbooking ever. She used the method, she stuck everything down, and she scrapbooked her daughter's wedding. Like, can you imagine? Day 1, the first thing you scrapbook ever is your daughter's wedding, and the pages were spectacular. She just was willing to retrofit, and it worked. It just worked so well. So I do encourage you to give that a try. We have a Facebook chat group of Club Scrap members and friends that gather together and share our completed work. We'd love to see you there and cheer you on. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, just take a second and hit like, and maybe leave me a comment to let me know that you're watching. And lastly, if you're not a member of Club Scrap, maybe you tried just this one kit, remember that anyone can shop at Club Scrap, but members always do save. So again, I'm Tricia Morris from Club Scrap. Thank you so much for the privilege of your time. I look forward to seeing you in another workshop soon.